To say the Buffalo Sabres need some help is a bit of an understatement.
Give away, Tavares, short-handed, scores! Smith wrists the line in his own zone, turned it over, Crosby fires, he scores!
This team has not been to the Stanley Cup playoffs since 2010-2011. To put that into perspective, Marty St. Louis had 99 points that year. He's long gone and retired. Daniel Sedin led the league in scoring. He's retired. Corey Perry had a 50-goal year. 25-year-old Corey Perry scored 50 goals the last time the Buffalo Sabres were in the postseason. The Buffalo Sabres were 20th in attendance last year. It wasn't always like that. Back in 07, 08, 06, I remember the glory years of the Buffalo Sabres with those beautiful jerseys, Danny Briere, Maxim Afinogenov, RJ Umberger getting absolutely destroyed by Brian Campbell.
Oh, pick it up and bring it back. Oh, what a hit by Campbell! Holy mackerel!
Young Jason Pominville, young Ryan Miller, the Buffalo Sabres, they were a fun team to watch. There's rumors of the superstar, franchise cornerstone piece, Jack Eichel wanting out of Buffalo. He wants out, he wants a chance to win. This team has not put a winning formula together, but here on NHL 21, we are going to change that. Welcome to episode number 1 of Cup for Jack, your Buffalo Sabres franchise mode. Woo! Oh baby, Buffalo, let's go. What's going on, guys, and welcome to the Buffalo Sabres franchise mode here on NHL 21. This one's going to be a little bit different. I got a lot to talk about before we even think about simulating or making any trades or anything about that. We got a lot to talk about here. So first off, hey, how's it going? It's been a little while. I'm excited. NHL 21's looking good. Franchise mode it's fun. There is some things I would change. There is a few different things that I would tweak personally, but as a whole, it's a pretty decent game mode. It's much improved from last year, and if you play the game, you can definitely attest to that. There's a new trade deadline mini game that's pretty cool. Now, I want to go back to October 11th when I announced that I would be coming back and making videos, and I would be starting with a Buffalo Sabres franchise mode. I said, I'm probably going to start making franchise videos again. Buffalo needs some help, and you guys were excited about that on Twitter. I said, definitely going to wait for the first roster update. I did that. The game's been out for a few days. Now there's a roster update, so that's why I've waited, because I wanted there to be as much realism as humanly possible. And then like 3 hours after that, the Buffalo Sabres decided, hey, we're going to spice up xTech's franchise mode. Here's Taylor Hall. So they signed Taylor Hall a few hours after I announced that I was going to be doing a Buffalo Sabres franchise mode. So that changes things. Taylor Hall, how's it going, buddy? He is on a 1-year, $8 million contract. He is getting paid in Buffalo. We'll talk more about Taylor Hall, but I thought that was kind of funny. It also happened in our Ottawa franchise mode when I announced we were going to be doing the Ottawa Senators franchise mode. We got the first episode out, and then they traded Erik Karlsson, so we had to start the whole thing over. Or I forget what we did. I think we started it over, but it's kind of funny. Hashtag xTech Jinx, if you know, you know. If you haven't got your hands on NHL 21, I'm going to go through a few new features, and then we will get into this franchise mode. But the first thing is the record book. It's on the very last page. It has an extensive record of every single team's leading scorers, the leading goaltender, all that kind of stuff. So if you go to Buffalo, you're going to see that currently on the left there, the current players, Eichel, Ristolainen, and that's pretty much all that's on there, and the goaltenders. Oh boy, we got to talk about the goalies. You can see there, Eichel leads the team in points for career-wise, and then all-time, you got Gilbert Perreault pretty much leading in all of the offensive categories, including games played, penalty minutes. No one's going to touch that. 31.89 for Rob Ray. Jesus. Shutouts, the Dominator. I don't think Linus Ullmark's going to touch that. Ryan Miller leads in wins, and then Gilbert Perreault obviously leads in goals. It bothers me that goals are on the very bottom. They should be up with points, seasons, assists. I don't know, it's kind of dumb. You can also check out the entire league. You can check out all of the actual records there, most goals, most points, most wins, blah, 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 blah. It's not a super long list. It's kind of cool. You can see there 5th all-time in games played. Patty Marleau, is he going to break Gordie Howe's record? I'm going to say yes. That's kind of cool though. If you're a stat junkie like myself and you want to check it all out, you can check out the record book. Now, I've seen some people ask, is it possible when you start an expansion franchise, what happens? It basically just adds your expansion franchise here and keeps track of it all, which is pretty cool. Now, talking about records and stats, we have to bring up our boy Trevor from our Shanghai franchise mode. He is the man. He's keeping track of everything we do in this franchise mode. You can see there is all the info you're going to need, all the trades, year by year, all that fun stuff. Link in the description once again. Shout out to my boy Trevor. Now let's talk about the Buffalo Sabres and how long we're going to be here. This is only going to be a 5-year franchise mode. 5 years, that's it. There's one goal, that's win a Stanley Cup for Jack Eichel. That is the name of the game. You can see in the top right, Cup for Jack. That's why we're here. It's only going to be a 5-year franchise mode, and I'm doing this for a few reasons. The first reason is because the NHL season isn't even started yet. There's still players in free agency that aren't even signed. Like Hoffman, you're going to see like Dustin Byfuglien. There's all these guys that are RFAs still. So, anything can really happen. I don't know if we're going to go crazy with an RFA or anything like that, but like Hoffman is still out here, so there's still players that aren't signed, unfortunately, and there's still a lot of restricted free agents, like that the Hawks don't have Dylan Strome. That's going to hurt. The Islanders don't have Matthew Barzal. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. So that's kind of why I wanted to do a quick franchise mode before the year gets actually started. I wanted to wait as long as I possibly could, but I don't really know how long I'm going to have to wait for Mike Hoffman to sign. Now that I said that, he's probably going to sign tomorrow, but he's currently a UFA. There's some big name UFAs out here still, so if we want to spice up the team, we definitely can. Like Dustin Byfuglien, he should be gone anyways. Chara, Kovalchuk, Vatanen, Eric Howla, like there's a lot of decent players out here still, so if we want to dip our toes into the free agency pool, we definitely can. I don't think there's any goalies available. Ryan Miller, we can bring him back to Buffalo. Oh man, if he was like 34 and like 81, I would think about bringing him back. So maybe in year 3 or year 4, when we do win the cup, he can hoist it, because he was the man for the Buffalo Sabres for so long. He was the backbone of this team. You can see he played from, when did he play? He played forever, basically. He played from 02 until 2012, basically. So he played a long time in Buffalo, and he put up some insane numbers. I think he won a Vezina Trophy once. So unfortunately, I don't think that Ryan Miller is going to be a part of our cup celebration when it happens, because we are going to bring a Stanley Cup here to Buffalo. But now that it is only a 5-year franchise mode, there is some rules. Now, I can't go ahead and trade anything past 2025 regarding draft picks. Obviously, our first round pick in like 2024, 2025, we're probably not going to use them, so I can't trade anything past that. I can trade everything up until 2025, and I think we're going to utilize our first and our second year picks. We're going to utilize 2021 and 2022. After that, I don't know if our first round pick from 2023 is really going to make an impact on the team. So that's just the one minor rule I have. I don't really want to cheese the system. Like, I could trade our 2026 and our 2027 when the time comes, those firsts for, a stud player. That's just kind of cheating, so I don't really want to do that. So it's only going to be a 5-year franchise mode, and after that, we'll probably do an expansion franchise mode, all that fun stuff that you guys know we like to do on the channel. So let's start talking about what we have to work with here with the Buffalo Sabres. Now, there was a bit of an issue when I went to do my test simulation just to see if all the players were on the right teams. I went to go put Joe Thornton on the Maple Leafs because that just happened. So I was doing a few test sims, and I realized that in the first test sim I did, it put our 2 restricted free agents, our big guys. We had 2 restricted free agents. That was Sam Reinhart and that was Victor Olofsson. So those 2 guys were big pieces, and they were listed as RFAs when I first started this. And I thought, okay, that could be kind of fun. We'll have to work out what we're going to do. Now, when I started up the actual franchise mode with all the rosters set to where I wanted them, they were no longer longer listed as RFAs. The computer gave them a contract, which was kind of strange. They gave them a 1-year deal. They gave Reinhart a 1-year deal at 3.6 and Victor Olofsson a 1-year deal at $700K, which is kind of unrealistic because Victor Olofsson had what, 20 goals or something? Yeah, he had 42 points. Definitely not going to be making $700,000. And even when I went to go into contracts and try to change it, it wouldn't update into franchise mode because the computer already gave them the contract. So year one, we got these players pretty cheap. I don't know what it was. I've seen different people that say, yeah, they are RFAs. I've seen lots of people say, no, the computer will give them a contract. So I don't know what happened. It makes no sense because there is still a bunch of RFAs in free agency. So I don't know why. Maybe it gives the team that you're controlling their RFAs a contract. I don't know what it is. The game is still a little buggy, unfortunately. It's not perfect. So if you're wondering what's going on with those two players, they're under a contract. And I mean, it's just kind of the way it is. So let's have a look at the Buffalo Sabres roster for year number 1. And what is our plan? Well, we got green everywhere, which is a good sign. However, it's only +1. We'll have to work on the rosters a little bit. Also, Casey Middlestat was an RFA, and they gave him a 1-year deal at $925. So that's just another player that was an RFA. So we got Taylor Hall, Jack Eichel, Victor Olofsson. I like that a lot. I really, really do. Now, there might be a few comments that say, hey, if you change Olofsson to playmaker or whatever, it will give them better chemistry. Well, unfortunately, EA axed that this year. They said no more changing players' types. You can't do that. So the chemistry that we get, we're going to have to make it work. I understand why they did it. It's just to, I guess, prevent, making the game a little bit easier, getting better chemistry. You put a 2-way forward playmaker sniper. Obviously, that's going to be much better chemistry than 2 snipers and a playmaker. We have 2 snipers and a playmaker with Hall, Eichel, and Olofsson. Second line, we have Eric Stahl, Sam Reinhart, and Jeff Skinner. Now, Skinner is making a boatload of money, $9 million for 7 more years. I think we're stuck with that deal. I don't think there's going to be a way we can trade it, but fortunately for us, Jeff Skinner usually sims pretty well, plus he's going to be playing with 2 pretty damn good players in Sam Reinhart and Eric Stahl. I think I'm going to put Stahl in the middle and Reinhart on the right wing. We're going to go ahead and do that. Even though Stahl has a better face-off rating, he's not listed as a center slash. You can see Reinhart can play both. Eric Stahl is mainly meant to be a center, and he's been a center his whole career, so why change it up now? We are going to keep him where he is. We got Casey Middlestat, Tobias Reeder, who's a free agent signing, and then Tage Thompson. Nice big young kid here, 6'5", 205, 22 years old, former first-round pick by the Blues. He obviously came over in the Ryan O'Reilly fleecing that the St. Louis Blues did to the Buffalo Sabres, but there it is, Tage Thompson, nice young player there. Kyle Okposo, he got the big 6x6 Louis Eriksson special. You can see he's got 3 years left at $6 million. That's going to be a contract I would love to move if we can add a sweetener to it, because if we want to re-sign Taylor Hall, depending on the year that he has, we're really going to have to scrape for every penny we got, because he only has a 1-year deal. Exact same thing with Reinhart, Stahl, Olofsson. They all got 1-year deals left. Fortunately, we have Eichel locked up for $60 million over the next 6 years, so he's not going anywhere. He's here for the duration of our franchise mode, and that's pretty much the offense. Cody Eakin and Gergensons. Looking at that, I'm probably going to put Cody Eakin there, and I think we're going to keep the forwards just like that. The goal is to get some +5s, obviously, but right out the gate, we don't have a lot to work with. I think if I was to move Sam Reinhart down and move Kyle Okposo up, it'd give it a +3, but there's no way I'm going to play Sam Reinhart on the third line, so we're going to go ahead and do that. But once again, this is very much a fan-driven series. If you've watched any of my franchise modes, you guys know the assistant GMs, you guys know how that works in the comments. I need your guys' help for sure. I highlight like 5 or 6 comments at the start of every single episode, so get ready for that. If you don't usually comment, maybe think about commenting, because there is a lot of fan interaction, a lot of really good ideas from you guys in the past, and we've helped make some of the most successful franchise modes on YouTube. Shout out Seattle Storm Bears, Shanghai Dragons. Now looking at the defense, oh baby, Rasmus Dahlin. Let me talk about this guy in a minute, but he's paired with Rasmus Ristolainen, couple of Rasmuses. Rasmusi? What's the plural of Rasmus? We got Brendan Montour, Jake McCabe, Colin Miller, and Henry Jokiharju. Now, the defense actually isn't bad. We get a lot of +3. We get 2 +3s here, which is absolutely massive. We got Risto here playing like an 88, and we got Rasmus Dahlin, the king, the young prodigy, playing like an 89. So that's definitely going to help us out. And then looking at the goaltenders, long gone are the days of Ryan Miller and his Vezina Trophy winning years. We have Linus Ullmark, who in my opinion is a little bit overrated. I don't think he's worthy of an 83. I mean, looking at his numbers, again, I didn't touch anything. I didn't touch any of the overalls or anything like that, but 19 and 14, I mean, a 914 and 269, it's not bad, but 83 is a little bit much, but hey, I mean, it's going to benefit us. I'll take an 83. And then we have Carter Hutton here, who is under contract for 1 more year. Yeah, 2.75. So not a lot with Carter Hutton. And then scratched, we have CJ Smith and Rasmus Asplund. We'll probably send those guys down to the AHL. And then having a look at our AHL team here, starting with goaltenders, we got Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. UPL, as he's known on Twitter. He wasn't even actually on the Buffalo Sabres roster. He was in the East Coast Hockey League and he wasn't showing up, so I had to bring him over from the East Coast League. So that was kind of weird. So just if you want to start a franchise mode with the Buffalo Sabres, keep that in mind. On the roster update, he's with the Cincinnati Cyclones, I believe, so you'll have to bring him over. But he's 21 years old. He's got medium elite potential at 76. So if all pans out, if all goes to plan, he could be the goalie of the future. Year 3 and year 4, we might not have to overpay for a goalie in free agency or via trade. I'm hoping that UPL can be the man of the future. And then we got Jonas Johansson, another big goalie, 6'5", and then UPL is 6'4". So that's the goaltending position here. With the American Hockey League, we got Dylan Cousins. That's a big piece coming up. He's got high top 6. Now again, I didn't touch any potentials, any overalls. We're going to save that for our expansion franchise mode or the next franchise mode that we do after we win 5 cups for Jack Eichel. But obviously he's the big piece. Obviously Dylan Cousins, top 10 pick. He is the guy that we're hoping can come up hopefully as soon as next year or maybe the year after and make a big impact. Defensively, looking like this. Hey, anyone remember this guy? Fitzy, Casey Fitzgerald, Shanghai Dragons legend. We got him with Brandon Davidson. I mean, nothing really super special here. And that is your Rochester Americans. Now, we got some nice line chemistry on our defense. The forwards definitely aren't bad, but the line chemistry has a lot to do with our head coach. We lucked out. I think we have a god-tier head coach. Something I've never seen right out the gate. Look at that staff chemistry. 89%. The Buffalo Sabres have went through coaches like crazy, but I think we have a stud here in Mr. Clancy. What's his name? Wesley Clancy, okay? Wait till you see the team fit. It is 72% right out the gate, so I'm hoping we can lock this guy up long term. I hope he's the coach that's going to lead us to the promised land. He's a big fan of Brandon Montour, big fan of Rasmus Dahlin, and so am I. I think Rasmus Dahlin, I think there is, there's that kind of crop of elite young defensemen, Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, Adam Fox, Miro Heiskanen, those guys. And then above that, there's Rasmus Dahlin. I'm a huge fan of Cale Makar, even a bigger fan of Quinn Hughes, but I think that Rasmus Dahlin, this guy only comes around once every 25 years. This guy is an absolute stud, well deserving of the high elite. I'd even give him low franchise potential, or even medium franchise. I'm the biggest Rasmus Dahlin fanboy. He is so damn good. I mean, Buffalo has not been good the past 2 years, and he puts up insane numbers for a 19-year-old kid coming over from Sweden. Yeah, he's the man. Big Rasmus Dahlin fan here. Big Dahlin guy here. I mean, in 59 games, he had 40 points last year as a 20-year-old on a Buffalo Sabres team that wasn't that great. So we have a stud in Rasmus Dahlin, former first overall pick. We got a couple first overall picks here. We got Rasmus, we got Taylor Hall, who's a former first overall pick in 2010, and then Jack Eichel, who wasn't the first overall pick. He was the second. Remember when Buffalo tanked for the Connor McDavid sweepstakes and then they lost? That's just typical Buffalo Sabres for you. But they got a pretty damn good consolation prize here with Jack Eichel. It is also worth noting that Eric Staal was drafted 2nd overall. I was 10 when Eric Staal was drafted. I'm going to be 27 in like less than 2 months. It's pretty crazy. The thing I like about Eric Staal is he has a Stanley Cup. When this trade was made, I thought Buffalo won huge here. I'm a big fan of Eric Staal. He brings nice veteran leadership here. He's 35 years old and he usually sims really well. Don't be surprised if Eric Staal has a 70-point campaign playing with Jeff Skinner and Sam Reinhart. Oh god, our power play is a mess. What is going on here? So our power play is going to look like this. We're going to go Eric Staal on the right point. He's going to man the right point as a left shot on the power play. Yoki Haru, Hall, Reinhart, Olofsson gives it a +3. Love to see it. Casey Middlestat, Jack Eichel, and Jeff Skinner. Obviously, both of the Rasmusi right down there. Skinner with Eichel and Casey Middlestat. Casey Middlestat was a top 10 pick as well, and people are already labeling him as a bust. He's 21 years old. I don't think he's a bust. He's going to be playing in the NHL this year. I would have had Eichel up here with Olofsson and Hall, but we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and put him with Casey Middlestat because Reinhart can play center, and why not spread out the love a little bit? Our top 6 isn't even that bad. I think we could be a playoff team year 1. Now, I don't want to go too far in this franchise mode without you guys having some input here. Now, I don't even really want to simulate because I want to see if there's any free agents that you guys see us maybe looking at. Now, year 1 and year 2, I don't really want to trade away any picks, so I think we're going to stay away from the restricted free agent market unless you think we should go after Matthew Barzal or Anthony Mantha. Again, our top 6 is pretty stacked. I don't think we need to go after any of these guys. Like, where would we put Anthony Mantha on our team? We'd have to get rid of, Sam Reinhart, which wouldn't really be that smart. So, looking at UFAs here, if there's any UFAs you think we should go after, let me know in the comments. Could we use an Ilya Kovalchuk on our 3rd line wing? Could we use another top 4D? What do you want to do here? What do you think we should do? Or should we just stay put? I wouldn't mind bringing in a guy like Connor Sherry for our 3rd or our 4th line because that's kind of the weak point. Our bottom 6 isn't really great, so if we can spice that up here, I don't know if burying Kyle Okposo in the minors is really something we should do. We kind of gotta honor his contract. He plays 4th line minutes. I think it's kind of like the Louis Eriksson situation. Just put him out there and see what happens. I'm not super sold on Tobias Reeder as well. They signed him to a 1-year, 2-way deal, so we could send Tobias Reeder down. If we wanted to get a guy like Connor Sherry, a familiar face, we could bring him back. I think that's something we should look at. As for our defense, I don't really think we should make any crazy moves. We have a god tier like coach, so that's something I'm really excited about. I think we want to make sure it's going to be the right fit that we bring him in. We don't need a Hoffman. We don't really need a Bufflin. I mean, I wouldn't mind a Dustin Bufflin, but Granlund, we don't need him. Chara, we don't need him. I'm looking at guys for our 3rd and our 4th line. I'm thinking we bring back actually all 3 of these guys played for Buffalo at one point. We could bring back Connor Sherry. He's cheap. He's kind of perfect for the 3rd line left wing. Something I want to do a little bit different for this franchise mode is I want to focus on getting +5s or +3s for the majority of our lines. You can see here Michael Frolik, he would fit on our forward line 3. Maybe Connor Sherry isn't the best because it said he fits well in our top 6. Now, it's only 1 bar on the binoculars, so it might not be super accurate. Jay Bullmeister, obviously we're not going to go after any of these guys. I'm looking more at depth forwards to bring in. Now, don't hate the rosters aren't completely up to date. Like Jeremy Bracco, obviously he signed with Carolina. He's still here because the roster update was after the fact, and I started this franchise mode before he went to Carolina, so it's not 100%, but I tried the best I could. Even a good veteran like Carl Soderberg we could bring in. It said he would fit well on our forward 3rd line, Colin Wilson on the 2nd line. Obviously, they aren't super accurate, so Max Ferranu is a nice young guy we could bring in, or maybe there's an RFA we want to go and throw a contract at. Someone like, let's see here, like Christian Fischer, someone like that, right? He would fit so well on our 3rd line left wing. Fit well on our bottom 6 forward lines. Like, that's a guy who I wouldn't mind throwing a draft pick at. Now, we don't have a ton of cap. We have $9 million. We have a little bit to work with. Now, what would this be? Just I'm going to offer him just 3.375. What would that be? A 2nd round pick. So do we want to throw that money at Christian Fischer? How much more does it go up if we give him like let's say $4 million? Does it go up to like a 1st? No, it still stays at a second round pick. So we have the cap to do it. I'm saying a guy like that would probably be better suited, or Luke Kunin. Oh, maybe not. He wouldn't fit well at all. Our coach wouldn't like him. Our godlike tier coach. We gotta make sure that guy's happy. Ilya Mikheyev, he would fit well. A good PKer, 25 years old. Jack Roslovic. There's definitely a few players out there, and I want to get your guys' opinion before. Ooh, Nolan Patrick. Well, he did technically just sign with the Philadelphia Flyers like yesterday, so I'm probably not going to go after a guy like Nolan Patrick, although we could probably get him for cheap. But there's definitely some options out there. I'm leaning more towards Ilya Mikheyev or Christian Fischer. So again, there's some options out there. We could take advantage of a cap-strapped team like Toronto. Obviously, they just gave Joe Thornton a contract, so they're not going to have a ton of money. You know, maybe going to throw $2 million at Ilya Mikheyev isn't the worst thing. What's that going to cost us? A third, or is it still going to be a second? Okay, so it's still going to be a second. Now, does Toronto even have $2.1 million to work with? Let's have a look at their cap situation. We could take advantage of a cap-strapped team here. Let's see if they even have $2 million to work with. Toronto, they don't. They have 2.4, so they have just enough to make it. We could offer them 2.5, and it's still going to be a second round pick. So I think that's something we could do, take advantage of a cap-strapped team. One more thing, here's a quick look here at our trade values. If you think anyone has some value we should take advantage of, like Henry Jokiharju has some pretty good value. Dylan Cousins, I'm banking on him becoming an elite player for us. If a guy like Casey Middlestat, you know, maybe doesn't work out, I think Dylan Cousins is a for sure home run. Here's all of our players: Eric Stahl, Tage Thompson, Colin Miller. There you go. There you are. So there's a few players here. Look at Jeff Skinner's trade value. Oh my God, it's nothing because he makes $9 million. That's a contract we are stuck with. He had one 40-goal season, and then Buffalo Sabres were like, here, have all the money in the world. Yeah, he had 63 points, and he got paid. Oh my God, did he ever get paid? Also, the nice thing about Buffalo is we have all of our picks. Well, most of them. We don't have a fifth or a third next year, but we have the majority of our decent picks, so I'm happy about that. So again, I want to wait till I get your guys' comments. I don't want to do anything crazy episode number 1. Just a nice little look around of what we're working with here with Jack Eichel, and obviously now with Taylor Hall. Depending on how this year goes, if we suck around the trade deadline, we can utilize the trade deadline minigame and maybe get a lot for Taylor Hall. Or if we're going to be a playoff team, why not try to re-sign him? Why the hell not? Although with our current cap situation, $6 million to Okposo, $9 million to Jeff Skinner, I don't know if that's going to be possible, but those are problems we're going to have to deal with down the road. This is just episode number 1. If you have any comments, you think we should go after any RFAs, you think we should take advantage of the Maple Leafs for being a cap-strapped team, offer them 2.5, they can't do anything about it, boom, Ilya Mikheyev's ours. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you for episode number 2, where we get some simulation done, figure out what kind of team we're going to be in year number 1. Once again, big shout out to my man Trevor for putting together all of the stats. He's going to track all the player awards, every player we ever draft. He goes in depth with it, so shout out to Trevor, and thank you for watching. Thanks for the support. Well, I've been kind of gone, really not enjoying NHL 20, so I just decided, hey, we're going to take an extended break. We're going to wait until NHL 21 comes out, because NHL 20 was, well, let's just leave it at that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys episode number 2.